Yes, I actually grew up in Hillsboro, which is about 20 minutes from here. It's a pretty small town, so growing up, my childhood was a pretty good childhood. My mom was always there and she did everything that she could, but I steered more towards the people that were doing the wrong things because I didn't have the discipline that I should have had. And a lot of that was from my dad not being there and always working and everything, but he did what he could at that time other than he was always gone. I was pretty angry. I just had some things happen to me when I was a little kid that nobody ever knew about, and then once that all came about, I started getting really angry, and I went from being bullied to being the bully. And then as I got older, I started getting progressively worse. I was drinking a lot all the time. I got in trouble quite a bit.
I grew up in Lockridge, about right in between here and Fairfield, and my parents didn't really show me the church thing. We went to like vacation Bible churches sometimes and in the summertime and stuff like that, but I never grew up around that. I have 3 brothers, so I'm the only girl. So that was fun. They made me tough, that's for sure. In high school, I was a troublemaker. I really didn't go to school. I just hung out with the wrong group of people and got in trouble. Never drugs, but alcohol. When
I was 19, I met the girl that I ended up marrying, and my cousin introduced us.
I was 17 years old when I met my husband. We met through his cousin, Elizabeth. One day I was over at her house and I'm like, oh, your cousin's cute. And she was like, oh, okay. And then I went out to my car to get something. I left my Facebook open and she messaged him on my Facebook. And ever since then, we hung out.
We got married about 4 months after we knew each other.
We got married when I was 17 because I got pregnant at 17.
It was pretty rocky in the beginning. I was pretty stern. I was stuck in my ways.
Our relationship was kind of crazy. We still fought quite a bit.
It was rough. It was rough, a lot of fighting. And, obviously the first couple months are always great, but then when it comes to compromising and changing, it's always pretty rough starting off. So we actually did go see a marriage counselor for about 3 or 4 months.
It really didn't start getting good until we started coming to church. My friend Haley brought me to the Cradle of Hope for a breastfeeding class, and after that, me and Donnie started doing classes together. She just kept saying, you guys should start going to church. And
she came back from one of her meetings with Donnie and everybody, and she's like, I'd really like to go to church. And I was just like, nope.
I felt it wasn't right coming to church without David, and I asked him so many times to come, and he always said, no, I don't want to go because, I believe in God and everything, but I don't want beliefs. He's like, I have my own beliefs. I don't want things pushed on me and stuff like that. And I kept telling him, well, I want to go, and I don't want to go without you.
And she kept asking me a bunch of times if I wanted to go to church, and I told her no, and I was like, I don't want to do it. And she came back from one of Donnie's classes at the Cradle of Hope, and she kept telling me, I want to go, and we kept fighting about it, and then finally we just ended up decided to come.
Around Easter, I told him, I'm going to church Easter Sunday, even if you don't go with me, and he's like, well, I'll go, and I'm like, okay.
So I walked into FCOC, and my first feeling is I was kind of overwhelmed with the way people acted. They were happy, they was really joyful to introduce themselves to meet you.
We were a little overwhelmed with how it was. It was more upbeat than we thought, but now we love that. When I walked in, I could feel the love that was in the church. I could feel how everyone was so involved in it, and I thought that was awesome.
Once we got in there and we got to worship time, that even got me more nervous because everybody's up and singing, and then I started thinking about it, like, man, these people are happy. They are truly happy, and I was like, man, I want that feeling.
Now that we've been coming to church, our life is so much better, happier. I've seen a change in me and David's life, our family. Even with our kids, I feel like it's so much happier. there's so much more love, I feel. Even with my mom's family, there's not as much fighting, not as much bickering. There's just so much more love, I feel.
So we've been coming to FCOC for about a year, and my life has just changed tremendously. People would not even begin to think of me being the same person as 5 years ago. They look at me now and I can tell they're just like, well, you're completely opposite of what you used to be. If she would have never started the cradle, we would have never been here. We would have probably not been together, honestly, because that's about the path we was going down. We were really excited about our future because we've already done this much in just a year or two's time, and we're ready to see where it goes from here. And the more we follow Jesus, the more it just continues to grow.